What's good, everybody? How are you? Hope you're enjoying your Wednesday. It is the hump day down here on EC Radio. You can follow along on all Disruption Network social media platforms. It's Twitter, Twitch, Periscope, YouTube, Facebook. All those freaking social media platforms that's got you all so demented out there, people. I guess it's the way the world is today. The way the world is today, too. If not for my sponsors, this podcast is not possible. So thank you so much to my sponsors. Big ups to my boy, Eddie Alsheimer over at EJA Moving Services, the professional movers. When you're ready to move and relocate, hit my boys up at 315-335-0516 or hit them up online at ejamoving.com. There's no task they can't handle. Awesome people. Go check them out when you're ready to move, relocate, move your gym, your office, your studio. They'll even do car transport. So if some of you snowbirds that are looking to drive down to Florida don't know how to get your car down to Florida, hit up my boys over at EJA Moving Services. Also, much love to my attorney, Dave Longaretta. Give him a call today if you need legal advice at 315-735-6162. Shout out to my peeps over at Utica Coffee. Wake the hell up, people. They got me jacked up on this caffeine every freaking day, and I love their coffee. Their coffee has made me a coffee snob. So big ups to my friends over at Utica Coffee. WakeTheHellUp.com. That's where you find them online. Also, Saranac Brewery. Love my peeps over at the Saranac Brewery. I've got a whole refrigerator full of the new seltzers. And you need to check out those new seltzers because they're absolutely tasty. Somebody who's absolutely tasty that's joining me today, an old friend of mine that I haven't talked to in a minute, Mr. Tim Herron. How are you, bud? It's good to see you.
I'm good, man. It's great to see you,
You sound great. That microphone sounds awesome.
Yeah, well, it should. For how much you paid for it.
Right. You get what you paid for. I was thinking today, man, before we got started, like how long we've known each other. We go back probably since the mid-90s. Do you recall the first time ever meeting?
I gotta say, it has to be Captain Trips.
Okay.
When Burma was probably playing, I remember doing a Captain Trips show with Burma and Joe Mama and the Funk Daddies, and I know you were there.
Yeah.
And I think that was like our first experience to Utica. To the Utica. Well, I shouldn't say that. That's not true. My first experience with the Uticans is with meeting the Brady clan out in Taos, New Mexico.
Gotcha.
So like that whole contingent, when I was touring with Dexter Grove, I met those guys, and through, so that was a little bit earlier. And then Burma, or no, I shouldn't say that. Actually, that's not true. I think Burma came before I did that stuff. Really? No, that's not true. No, that's not true. That's not true. It's foggy, but no, yeah. So I met, yes, that is right. So Burma came afterwards, and that's when I met you guys. So I knew like Brady, Scott Brady, Jay Brady, Sardelli, all those guys beforehand, and then Burma started, and that's how I met you and Joe and those and that crew.
As I like to refer to them as my blackout years. Right?
Well, Burma and Tim Herron Corporation, like that was, it was some rough, I mean, I look back on them fondly, but I would never, if my son asks me about him, I'm going to lie and say that it never happened. And there were no cell phones back then. So I don't know what you're talking about. So
what I remember from Burma is just large guys. Wasn't that band just big? Everybody in that band was just bigger dudes. It was like a football team more than it was a band. Yeah,
it was Tom Barnes, who who was a big, bodybuilder dude, and and the bass player Chris was a big guy. Me, I'm big, and PJ Bullock was a drummer. He was the runt of the litter. So and we just played like. We drank a lot of beer, and we played our guitars as fast as we could. Mm-hmm. That was pretty much what we did, and we liked to drive around in our van and go to places and cause havoc.
And you did that quite well.
We did that well, yeah. So
As long as I known you, I do not know your history, like your back history. Like, what were you doing in high school? Were you playing sports? Were you playing music? Like, what were you like in high school?
well, I went to West Genesee High School, which is kind of a big sports high school. And growing up, we were all lacrosse players. So we just that's what we did, and I mean, I even played lacrosse in college, and it was like, I mean, that's, but I ended up quitting. I ended up finding like picking up a guitar, like somewhere around 14.
Uh-huh.
And, I was like, wow, this is way cooler. And, and I kind of figured I would get more girls with guitars than with lacrosse sticks. So I would, I kind of switched things over and kind of quit playing lacrosse for the school. And I ended up playing tennis because my dad was the tennis coach. And, he's like, you're not sitting around just doing nothing, playing your guitar, that kind of thing. So I had to do something, but yeah, then I started playing. Like, I started playing in high school. Wasn't any good. Just playing like parties, and I played with PJ Bullock for, he was like my, for forever. We grew up playing like 14. We had bands and stuff like that. But and then I started going to college. And I was like, well, what am I going to do? So I ended up, I'm like, well, I'm just going to do music, even though I don't even know how to read music at that point. So I started taking some classes at OCC, and then I went to Oswego State, and that's kind of, I went to music school there, and that's where I met Charlie Orlando and Steve Dreeses and a whole bunch of people, in that, later became like my greater, circle of friends that I, ended up touring with and stuff like that. But that's kind of like, and then from there, I toured with Dexter Grove for a while, off and on.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, when Mo wasn't touring, Jim Laughlin would play bass and I would play guitar, and we would be more like a band. So we did a whole bunch of tours and that kind of thing, and had a lot of fun. Those guys were just, that was just some havoc created.
Road warriors. Those guys were out.
They were
all the
road
time.
warriors, and they just, they left a wake of destruction everywhere they went. It's funny because, it's the, they released a single. They're releasing a single in like a couple weeks, like the first single. And everybody, Charlie put up this thing. Who remembers Dexter? He's been putting these things up and stuff. And I've just been, having a blast just making fun of all of them. And my last one was, Dexter Grove, the herpes of the jam band scene.
That's hysterical, man. You bring up Oswego. You went to college in Oswego. That was such a hot music bed for all the bands that were coming in and out of that place. And there was a bunch of music venues that were hip and happening back then. What are some of your memories of being?
I mean, I don't know if there's a bunch, but I mean, Old City was like the main thing. Mm-hmm. I had a band. So I had a band called the Adirondack Trail Guides, and we had we were a fun like college band, and from guys from Syracuse actually, but we ended up playing up there a bunch, and I just remember like Doc Apple was kind of like the Oswego band, which was Charlie's band. I remember Mo was coming around and playing. There was a whole bunch of bands. There was some local ones that I can't really remember their names. Like Fresh Cut Grass was one of them. These kind of like these college, name bands. But yeah, Old City. There was the Patch would have some bands. I mean, there wasn't a ton. There was maybe like 3 or 4 places that I remember.
Sure.
But what was the band that the Allman Brothers type band? They still play a little bit. With Vulture on drums. What's Frostbit Blue? They were like the big. Yeah. They were like the big college. We used to go down Thursday nights to one of the bars right across from Old City, and it was bring your own pitcher night. and Frostbit Blue played. We bring a Gatorade thing, and they'd fill it for $3. And
You couldn't get
yeah.
away with that now.
No, or well, I don't know why you would want. I mean, because it's like it was the most disgusting thing in the world, but that's what you did, I guess, back then, So
yeah,
it's kind of the fun stuff, but
Oswego
So then.
Oswego's in the middle of that whole second wave of jam bands, though. A lot of those guys were coming through in and out, and that's just what made for a vibrant city or vibrant town,
I think
if
all
you
the
will.
SUNY schools were like that, to be honest with you.
Good point.
I mean,
good point.
I think
Oneonta was that way as well.
Yeah, Oneonta, Buffalo was big. We used to play
New
Buffalo
Paltz.
a lot. New Paltz. Albany was, a big town. Greg Bell was doing all that stuff out there, and I mean, there was like that whole SUNY. I think the SUNY schools were, Plattsburgh. We used to play Plattsburgh all the time, and Potsdam too. We used to play Potsdam a lot too.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, they were just all kind of. There was like a network of these, jam band type of things that you went out and did. It was kind of part of the scene. It's like, well, you got to get on the circuit. That's where these are the places you play, and that's it. So. There some of the band, like the C Pods, were big. They were already out a little bit. They were kind of like when Mo came out, I would think, and the C Pods, Moon Boot Lover, Peter Prince.
Yeah, can't forget Peter.
Peter.
He had some wild nights with that guy. Yoke, the C Pods, Free Beer and Chicken.
Free Beer and Chick, Kirk and Kenny, and and it's like, we did, like Kirk and Kenny, we did some of the albums with Dexter Grove together, they would play, and then the final show, that was the band. It was Kirk, Kenny, Lachlan, me, and then Steve and Charlie, I think. Chris Noel, I think she sang too. I mean, so, it was like, there was a whole bunch of like, I mean, we all were kind of friends and stuff like that. And, and that was that. Yeah, I guess that second wave. Yeah, it was like that second wave.
Fun times back then.
It was great. Yeah. I don't consider myself like, I consider myself a little bit later, when Joe was around, like Joe Sweet, like that's kind of the era that I kind of consider, like the Mo C Pods, were a little bit before me.
Yep.
And I kind of consider myself part of that whole, that second wave, I guess, or that whatever wave that is. I don't even know.
Yeah.
So
you were on that wave, brother. No matter what number it was, you were definitely on that freaking thing.
Yeah. I can't get off it.
So whereabouts do you meet A-Rock in this whole story, Eric?
So let's see. So Burma was we had a firehouse, if you remember this. You remember correctly. We had a firehouse on the north side that we all lived in, and Eric was doing Sterling Stage, and we met Eric, and he was also helping out at Hungry Charlie's too. So we just ended up doing a gig at Hungry Charlie's. We got to be friends with Eric, and Eric, and we ended up playing one of the Sterlings, and we decided to all move into this firehouse on the north side, which ended up being like, I mean, it was Animal House to say the least. I mean, it was crazy, and that's where Eric came in. I mean, everybody asked, me to tell the one quintessential story about the firehouse, which is Rage Against the Machine played our party.
Right, I was going to ask you. That's the only question I wrote down, so I don't forget to ask you about the Rage Against the Machine thing.
Yeah, so it was whatever Woodstock when they played in Rome.
99.
99. So they like Delsner Slater was somehow involved with that. They were like production companies were still around,
Right.
And we knew a guy that was working for them. He was working, I don't know, I don't even remember the whole story, but somehow they got in contact because there was no places in Syracuse to rehearse. And everybody was flying into Syracuse and staying at the Hotel Syracuse downtown. So we ended up, saying, well, we're essentially having a party Friday night. You can come and play. That's basically what, and they're like, all right, we'll be there. And so Rage showed up. Well, actually, a tractor trailer showed up 3 days before with all their gear, and we were like, "Oh shit!"
Oh man!
And yeah, we're like, "Oh god!" We lived next door to a church too. It was like, "Oh my god!" So next thing you know is like, all of a sudden their crew shows up, and it's like 30 people crew, like bodyguards. There was probably guns there involved, and it was a little intense.
Yeah, they were a big deal back then.
Yeah, and this was the height of Rage. And they haven't played in like 2 years. They actually quit at that point. And they were coming back to do the Woodstock thing. So all of a sudden, those guys show up, and they're the nicest guys you can even imagine, And they played their Woodstock set twice. And it was the loudest fucking thing I've ever heard in my life. I can swear, right?
I prefer it.
All right. Okay. It was the loudest thing I've ever heard in my life. And they played the Woodstock set twice. And I mean, it was pretty amazing, And the coolest part of the whole story, I will say, is this. There was a kid that lived across the street from us. And he was about 12, 13, 14, something like that. And his mother was trying to get him to go over to our area, to go see it. And, you could see he had like a freaking Rage Against the Machine t-shirt on, he was like the fan, and PJ notices the kid and he walks across the street and down the street and goes, "Hey, do you know who do you think's playing over there?" And he goes, "I think it's Rage Against the Machine." He goes, "You want to come over?" And we brought this 14-year-old kid over, and they go on break, and Tom Morello comes out, and we had a couch out sitting out in the whatever next to our keg, and the kid's sitting down on the couch. Tom Morello comes over to him. "Hey kid, hey, what's going on? I'm Tom," and this kid was just like, "Oh my god." Like, the coolest thing, Rage Against the Machine's playing in my neighborhood. So yeah, it was a wild thing, and then that was that.
Did you have to jump through legal hoops to have them there, like sign non-disclosure agreements or any of that?
No, they didn't care.
They didn't care.
No, the only thing they asked for us to do is to find a PA.
That was it.
Can you get like a really good PA system, because we're really loud, and we need like something. And all they had was monitors. It's just a big monitor system, and yeah, that's all they cared about. And they're just like, and that was like back then. It was before the MTV thing where the bass player jumped in the thing or whatever. He was like standing on top of the thing or whatever. It was before all that stuff, and. No, very cool guys. We ended up playing football in our parking lot with them till late night while Zach skateboarded around.
Wow.
It was pretty wild.
That's amazing. Did you go to Woodstock by any chance?
So that night, Steve and Charlie, Dexter Grove, were coming up. They were on their way. They actually made it to the end of it. And Mo was on the site of playing. They were the first band, I think, at Woodstock that year. And Lachlan was coming to meet us, and we were going to play Harborfest the next day. And so Lachlan came up and met us, and we all went to Oswego to play Harborfest, which ended up being a rainstorm. And the rest of the guys, so as the story goes, we all went downtown the night of the Rage thing, and we went to the Hotel Syracuse, and one of our guys that we were with was kind of like, he was a little shady, and he goes to the desk and he goes, and he looks over and he sees a list, and he goes, "I'm so and so." He reads the name off a list, and they're like, "Okay, here to pick up my package." he got he got all of Los Lobos's artist passes, like 40 some of them. And so that next morning, PJ and Eric and like 15 of our buddies got in our van and they drove to Woodstock with these artist passes. They drove right up there, and they were like, we could get caught. They ushered they ushered them right backstage, and there they were. And they got to see the whole Woodstock, while we were up at Harborfest. They're sitting on stage for Metallica and going through all that. And the funniest part about it was, so all those guys are backstage, and the Rage guys see, and they goes, "Hey, the Firehouse guys, what's going on?" And he turns and he goes, "Oh, you got the passes we sent for you. We gave to you for the show." And they're like, "No, we got," PJ is like, "No, we got our own," or something like that somehow, And he turns to like their road manager. He goes, "Dude, we told you to give those passes." And the guy turns to them. He goes, "Dude, we got to get laid too." So
I wonder what happened with Los Lobos. Did they get? They made it in, but I wonder if
they made it in. Yeah. So yeah, it was a crazy weekend. Like that whole thing was just wild. Then we went up to Harborfest and played, and we literally hit the first note on our guitar, and on Water Street, and the sky opened up, and it just shut us down. And I remember Crazy Larry, who owned Old City, that's who we were playing for. He comes up and he goes, me, Lachlan, and Stephen Charlie are sitting there, and we're like, our equipment's soaked, and we got it on the stage because we brought it from outside inside. And he brings us a bottle of Jim Beam. He goes, "Tough break, guys. Here you go." And we just sat there and passed the bottle of Jim Beam around for the rest of the night.
Thanks, Larry.
Yeah, thanks, Larry. So yeah, Larry's, if you know anything about Larry, that's Larry. So
is that place still, well, obviously not with COVID going on right now, but before COVID, is that place still active, Old City Hall?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like, like it does a lot of like acoustic acts or stuff like that. Like John McConnell was playing there a lot and stuff, and but yeah, it was still active, and like the restaurant was still working. I had lunch there one night. It was really good and stuff. So, still going, I guess. So I don't know.
Larry still owns the place?
Yeah.
Does he?
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't think he'll ever give it up. They'll have to run him out.
That was the first place I ever saw a pot being smoked openly inside a bar.
In that little cove on the side of the stage?
Nobody cared. He just lit up wherever in that place. And that was, you're talking 20 years ago. And it, for a 25-year-old kid like me, was like, "Oh, this is awesome,"
I got to own a bar.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so we see how that happened. Tim, I was also thinking about something that, like, you have a PhD in sarcasm, right? And I was thinking about this one time that you guys were playing one of the festivals that Joe Sweet and I had put together, and you were on stage, and you're like, "Joe and Z, got yourself wrapped up in another one of these, huh?" And that always stuck with me for some reason, and I was like, you know what, he's right.
Yeah, I remember. So one of the great memories that I have, like, was one of your festivals. I don't know where it was, but it was somewhere in Boonville or something like that. I don't know, and I remember we played. I think we played early, then we were coming back to play again or something. I can't remember, but I remember we had some other gigs, and we came back, and we were coming back late night, and there was like this backstage. It was going on in the back, and there's lights, and also we get out of the car and we hear THC, LSD, PCP. And I don't know if you remember this. Do you remember this at all? And it was like this, like in a robotic voice, and it was like DJ music going on. And of course, it was Scotty Palooza. what was his buddy name? The alien or what? Visitor or something like that.
Visitor, yeah.
Visitor. And they're sitting up there doing like this robotic stuff and playing like DJ music, and we're like, it was like, what the hell is going on here?
Yeah, Scotty didn't care, man. He stayed up all morning, all night. He just let it roll. And then that's when we found out that we were right next door to it. Some kind of sheriff. One of the sheriffs lived right next door. And then there was like this board meeting or town meeting the next day about all of us that was going on.
Of course there was. Well, there should be.
Scotty didn't care, man. He just kept rolling. I miss that guy so much, man.
Dude, I still think about Scotty. So I had so much fun with that guy. I mean, we had such a blast. He just didn't care. He didn't care. And it was like, and he just like, he was kind of like the pack leader too. He just like, and I had a lot of fun with him. I had a lot of fun playing when I played with the family dogs. Mm-hmm. Like the first show at the EC I was playing piano, I was playing keyboard and pedal steel, and with Essay and and all those guys. It was a lot of two guys that are gone. So
yeah,
but yeah, a lot of fun with that guy, man. Holy cow!
Did George Wesley play with the dogs at one time too? Or I remember Scotty doing something with George Wesley at one time.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he played with the dogs. He might have sat in with the dogs. I mean, George used to sit in with all of us. I miss that guy like dearly. Yeah. I mean, I really loved George. He was a good friend of mine, and like I was, he just had the nicest things to say to me all the time, and I just loved the man. He was such a sweet guy. So, yeah, I mean, the music scenes, in Syracuse, we lost another one yesterday, yeah. Mark Gibson, big one, and, it's kind of, bummer, but,
I saw your tribute that you did to him yesterday. That was nice, man.
Yeah, thanks. I didn't know what to do. I kind of shut down yesterday. I was kind of like, man, I couldn't teach any lessons. I was just kind of like in a daze. And I was just like, I got remembering like the last time I saw Mark, and it was like, oh, I'm just going to do this, just take my mind off of this. Cause I don't know, for some reason it hit me hard yesterday. Like, and I can't say that I was like super close with the guy, like, I mean, we weren't like, but he was, I would go see him play. He was always, we always talk and hang out, and like, he's just a nice guy. But man, it hit me hard, and it hit a lot of people hard. And I think that, I think it's going to be a long term too, because it was just, I don't know, he was like the wise elder of the scene, and like, and, yeah, really just sad. So I know the whole music community in Syracuse is just really bummed out right now.
For sure.
So.
It's kind of, it's been happening here in Utica too. We just lost a local legend as well to the same issue.
Who's that?
As well. His name is Freddie Pepperata. He played in a band called Soul Injection. He's been around for years and years, and huge family, great people. And it just same thing. It was like the next day that Mark passed away from Freddie. It's like legends never die, though, man. And they'll always live on. And it's good that we can actually celebrate their lives and talk about who they are. And their memory will live on forever, just because they've left such an impact on everybody in the music community.
Yeah, absolutely. And all those guys like Scotty, and I mean Scotty. I mean, mm-hmm. Like I think people, like Facebook, even though it's like it's probably the demon from hell, it has some nice qualities, and some of those nice qualities are these memories that pop up, and like you jump on Facebook and it's like, oh, there's this memory of me and Scotty, hanging out at this festival, and it's like, oh, that's kind of nice. And then then you go to the regular bullshit of talking about Trump and fucking Biden and all that crap, but that's when I just log off. But it's like,
right.
But there are some these amazing things that are like, oh, that's really cool that thing just popped up. Scary that it popped up, and scary when you're thinking about somebody and it's and all of a sudden something that pops up, But it's like reading your mind. But that's social media can be good in those ways. You know?
And
So.
let you know those people are still there with you. They haven't gone anywhere.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We had so many great legends leave us, and even before COVID. I mean, just the last couple of years, and it's a shame to watch these people, leave. But it's all part of life, and that's how we celebrate, man. We celebrate life, and instead of getting down, instead of getting sad, we celebrate and tell stories and reminisce. That's what I'm doing with you today, brother. We're reminiscing.
That's good. All the stories that I always tell about Scotty are just these they're just wild, fun things, and then it's like that's how he would want to be remembered. And I know all those people. George Wesley would want to be remembered, in a certain way, and they want to be celebrated. So cheers to those guys.
Yes, absolutely. Cheers to them. I want a good Scotty Palooza story. You got to tell me one now.
Well, I think that I don't know if I have like a really great one. I mean, most of them are, pretty hazy,
Yeah, right.
I mean, I don't like, I can't like, I think that one where I'm walking in when you guys and Scotty's on the microphone doing, there was, there was these times at Sterling when when he duct taped a dude to a tree.
Oh, I forgot about that one. That's right.
Yeah, he duct taped. Like he took too much acid and he just duct taped him to a tree.
Well, no, I think didn't the kid get caught stealing something? I think that's what happened.
Oh, maybe
they duct taped him to a tree.
Oh, maybe that was it. Yeah, something. I don't like it's foggy. That's 20 years ago.
Right, I know.
But yeah, I mean, those were fun. And I mean, Scotty was just like, I remember he had this great idea. He wanted to do what was that? Girls Gone Wild.
Oh yeah, Hippie Girls Gone Wild. We did that.
Yeah, he wanted to do.
I have a floppy disk. I have a floppy disk of girls from Utica that actually posed for us, and it's on an old school 2003 floppy disk. I got to dig that up, but yeah, it's Hippie Girls Gone Wild. They had T-shirts made, and he was giving T-shirts out left and right. Show your titties.
Oh, yeah. That's a good boy. Yeah. He was just a great, like that voice, it's just he had that voice, but just I don't know. I can't think of a great story off the top of my head, to be honest with you. Just night, I don't know, late nights hanging out with Scotty at like festivals or or in Nick Tahoe's in Rochester when we'd go play. We'd be up with Scotty till 4 a.m. So yeah, but good dude, real good guy,
great energy. Yeah, great energy. I got one for you. I got to talk about this one. I made the mistake of hiring him as a DJ for our St. Patrick's Day parade party at the Electric Company, and it was like our first St. Patrick's Day at the bar, not realizing that he was going to play all this techno and all this like weird off. I thought he was going to play regular music,
Yeah, that's what the stuff I was telling you about when I walked in. It was like this crazy techno stuff,
Right. So people are like starting to boo him, and here it is, St. Patrick's Day, and everybody's drunk. They want to hear whatever, and he's like, "You guys are the rednecks. What do you want me to play, Skinnerd?" he's calling the crowd rednecks. Oh man, he got in a fight with the crowd on St. Patrick's Day. It was hilarious.
Yeah, that's exactly how he rolled, and I remember him telling me one time, he's like, I'm gonna get so much, I'm gonna get so many girls at this festival. I'm gonna have one entrance in my tent and then the rear entrance when they go out, and then the new one comes in. We're like, oh, Jesus.
Funny stuff, man. Like I said, legends never die, man. And Scotty's been gone a few years now, and here we are still celebrating him. So he's definitely left an impact on both of us.
Oh, yeah, without a question. Without a question.
When was the first time you played Sterling? When did you get involved with all that?
Well, Burma, I can't remember. It was in the 90s. Like I want to say maybe 98. I think 98 it was. And it was Burma played, and then Burma broke up shortly, maybe a year after that, and that's when we formed Tim Herron Corporation.
Mhm.
And Eric was living with me and PJ. We're just like, well, we don't want to not play. Let's just keep playing, So that's how we started that. And I think the first Corporation album was 99.
Okay.
And I could be wrong. Eric actually knows all these dates. He's like amazing at that stuff. But yeah, so we did that, and then we became like regulars at this, like, because Eric was the promoter, and we just ended up playing all the festivals, and basically became like the house band there. And and then and it was going going strong for many years, and they're still going. I don't. The attendance. I don't think is what it was like in that. What was it? Probably. I think the heyday of Sterling was like 2008. Something around there. I can't remember exactly, but something like there. Like when those first years that Ryan Montbleu was playing, like headlining, and there were some great shows. Like that's when like the capacities were killer. Like Scotty did a show, and like he had some ridiculous amount there of people.
It was so big. He outgrew that venue at one point.
Without a question.
I mean, there's thousands of people there.
Then he moved to up north where the Modown was at Snow Ridge, and it just that's when he had that bad year that year.
Yeah, it was pretty much like a hurricane that weekend, and it washed him right out.
Yeah. So let's see. So I mean, and we were playing there quite frequently, and then the Corp kind of fizzled. I shouldn't say we were done. We just kind of stopped playing. Everybody was doing different things, and we had our 20th anniversary last year, and on Christmas, well, like right around a year ago today, and we had PJ play. And it was a blast. We had a blast, and we were like, we should keep playing. We should play some more. And and I think we had every intention to play more, and then COVID happened. So but I know we all want to play again. So that's so hopefully we'll do something again.
Yeah, you should.
We haven't done a reunion show at Sterling. We haven't done a Sterling one yet.
And you will.
So I hope so. Yeah. So
I'm pretty
hopefully.
sure you will. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of great years, man. A lot of great years. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, it was fun. But at the same point with Sterling, it's like it's tough. Like when you're, I'm 48. I can't. It's like I can go there now and I could do like one night, and I'm like, all right, I don't know, was it last year? It was like 2 years ago, or I went like it wasn't last year. They didn't have anything last year, but 2 years ago. And I went to one of the shows, and I was in my tent by 11 o'clock. I can't do it anymore, man. And I was just kind of I had some beers, hung out. It was cool. And I was like, all right, good night.
Mentally, you could still do it. It's physically you can't do it anymore, right?
Oh, I can't. Yeah, I can't. I don't think mentally I can do it. I mean, maybe I could, but I don't know. Like, I just like, I don't know. I just can't. Like, physically, definitely not. So, those old days, like, when we used to play, I used to play with, the Wooden Spooners. And like we would play the Wednesday nights with at the Hump Day Hoedown, and and like Jay didn't drink,
right?
So I would drop my car off at his house, and he would drive me down to the gig, and then I'd go back with those guys, and we would just me and Sardelli would just crush beer the whole time. And then we crash at his house, like this is like our regular, like I can't even imagine, like when I play gigs now, I have like a beer too. I can't even drink beer now. I mean, I drink wine.
I'm with you there,
it's like,
brother.
It crushes me. The older you get, it just crushes me. So
I'm with you, man. Now the stupid freaking Corona coaster hit, kind of shut down all the gigs. I noticed you've been doing a bunch of live streams. Have you been writing music too throughout this Corona coaster, or are you just doing the live stream?
Yeah. A little bit. I mean, I kind of shut the I mean, I did a lot of live streaming when it first happened. And then I actually played a bunch this summer,
Okay.
you know, like, so I played a good amount of gigs. Not what I normally play, but I did play. And, I streamed on Saturday, and then I did it 2 weeks ago too. So I've only done two since, you know, probably June or something like that, or whatever. But, you know, I mean, there's nothing else to do.
Right.
You know, I'm writing. I actually got an album like that I'm kind of working on, like at my house, my studio, that's where I am right now. And I'm, you know, kind of doing that, but I am working a lot, like with my other stuff, you know, that I do in music stuff. So that keeps me really busy, and I'm trying to really keep that going. So
you're teaching,
you know, my
correct?
lessons,
Right? You're teaching?
I teach. Yeah, so I teach. You know, I teach privately. I teach private lessons, and I do it all virtual now, pretty much. And I was an elementary school teacher at my son's school, but I'm homeschooling Django now. So, like real homeschool, not like, you know, school from home. And so I just kind of, you know, I took a leave of absence from teaching the elementary school, but I'm also the director of music for this the Mosaic out in Auburn, and I run group. They're adults with disabilities, so I'd run music groups for them, and that's my main focus, is making sure that those things keep going, and because they really need them, and they really look forward to them, and they did nothing. They were locked up in their rooms for the last 6 months, and they need to be, you know, like, there's nothing going around in these group homes, so they need to get out and do things and stuff like that. So we're, you know, like I'm trying, like I took a test today, you know, because I'm going to see him tomorrow, you know, and just to make sure that, you know, that everything's safe, because, you know, that's you got to keep it safe for them, because they catch it, you know, it could be bad. So
could be fatal for sure.
Yeah. So, but yeah, just, you know, like,
what are you teaching them?
Oh, go ahead.
Like, what kind of stuff are you teaching them?
You know, music, like anything music, like that they like to perform. They love to perform. So normally we had they would do a show every other month. Their group would do a show. So we had one every Thursday, or one the second Thursday of every month. And we had this big show. We had a little theater in Auburn, and the places were packed, and it was fantastic. And they would all get up there and perform a song or something like that. And I've kind of scaled the classes, you know, a little bit differently now, and we're just, you know, we're working on songs. We're going to try to do a live stream here for Christmas here shortly. So, or maybe not a live stream, but maybe like a pre-recorded thing, and just, you know, put it up on the Mosaic website and stuff like that. So just giving them opportunities to stay, you know, to stay busy doing that stuff. So
yeah, keep their mind active.
Yeah. They really need to. You know, the mental health thing with this COVID thing is I think we're just seeing the tip of the iceberg right now.
I agree.
So, you know, so I think everybody needs to kind of stay aware of that and make sure you're, you know, checking in on everybody and all that kind of stuff, you know. So
yeah, you're right. And that's a good PSA for today too. Check on everybody, check on your neighbors, check on your friends, your loved ones, and make sure everybody's mentally intact. And that right now, man, especially the crap that we're all sitting in, and, you know, people are losing it. And it's important to make sure you talk and get those out and open and get your issues out and talk.
Yeah, I mean, you know, like, you know, we were doing some cool things with my friends, like last year, you know, when this all happened. We played cards.
Yeah.
You know, with like guys all over the country that I went to high school with. You know, we'd Venmo each other money when we lost. It was hilarious, you know. You owe me $5, man. Venmo me that money. And so yeah, I mean, you know, we had some, you know, so there's ways to do it. You know, I think people just need to kind of be aware and stuff. I got a puppy, So
Oh,
that's
cool.
keeping me. That's kind of me and Django's project for winter COVID.
How old's your son now?
He's 8.
Is he really? Wow.
Yeah, 8 years old.
It goes by
And he
fast.
technically, he's got Utica ties too. Like I mean, he technically lives in New Hartford with his mom when he's not with me. So
Uh-huh.
so yeah, so
Ah, it goes
he's
by
Utica.
fast. Yeah, you poor kid. Poor kid. Hey, Tim, the question I've been asking a lot of people lately is if there anything you'd like to see stick around after COVID's done?
Stacy had this awesome t. Did you see that T-shirt that she put up a couple days ago?
I did.
It said, it said, when the COVID's over, please stay away from me.
Keep your
Something
6
like
feet
that.
away from me still. Something like that.
Yeah, yeah. So, I don't mind. I don't mind some of this this virtual stuff. I think it saves on a lot of time, like to drive places. I think that's a good thing.
I agree.
Uh, I'm kind of like the streaming thing. I'm a little I could take it or leave it. I'm not. I don't think it's. I don't know if it's the greatest thing in the world. I don't know yet. Like, I mean, I live music to me needs to be played live. Like I want to go to experience clubs. I think once when the clubs open, when things get back to normal, and I think we're gonna be. It's gonna be a year of no one's gonna even look at the online stuff, in my opinion. I don't know. I have no idea, but I don't know. Like, yeah, I suppose there's. I like the fact that life is slowed down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I wish, like, I feel like I was doing too much, and I was getting burned out a little bit on certain things. So I would like that to continue. I don't know. I can't think of anything else, really, to be honest. What about you? What do you think?
I like the whole 6 feet apart. Like, stay away from me. I used to be such a
Really?
people person, but I think COVID really it jaded me. And
Really?
I've become the angry old man, kid, get off my lawn guy now.
No hugs? No hugs from pretty girls?
I haven't hugged anybody in a long time, other than my mom. I think that's about it. I haven't hugged anybody.
No, not when
So,
you're back, back
I don't
in.
go out. I don't do anything. I go to the studio. I go to my house, and that's it. That's all I
Yeah.
do. Yeah, I don't want to be around people now. It's like I'm skeeved out, if you will.
I get it, man. Believe me, I get it. I don't know. Yeah, I definitely was weird, like going into some of the like playing the gigs that I was playing, and some of the people like were that just don't get the 6 feet thing, and you're like, I was kind of like, whoa, like, they come up to you and I was playing this private party in the summer, and this dude, like, I'm playing a song, and this kid walks right up to the microphone, like next to me, like right here, and tries to like sing back, and I'm like, I stop the song, put the thing down. I'm like, what the fuck, dude? And I take the microphone off, and I put another microphone on, and he was like, whoa, like he got the message, like, what I did was totally unacceptable. So, but yeah, I mean,
Way to put
I
him
don't
in
know.
his
There's a lot of,
place.
yeah, they need to be, I mean,
Grab another microphone.
and I'm not trying to be like a Karen or nothing, but it was like, it was just like, dude, I don't, you're reaching over like my shoulder to try to talk on the microphone with me and sing with me. I'm like, no, this is not cool. So the owner of the party, like the guy, he was like, what the fuck? He's like, I thought he threw him out, but anyways. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's gonna be interesting to see what does stick around and what doesn't.
Yeah, no
I don't
doubt.
know.
You know, everybody says go back to the way it used to be, but I don't think we'll ever get back to the way it used to be. There's always going to be some kind of law or some kind of stipulation that's going to be intact on some of this gathering and commiserating as a society. So we'll see what happens, but hopefully we get it back and it's nothing but a raging party. That's what we want, right?
That's what I want. Yeah. And at 11 o'clock, I'll go home and go to my set.
Hey, Tim, before we get out of here, I want your Mount Rushmore of guitarists.
My Mount Rushmore of guitarists.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's probably not like
is there 4 or 5 on the Mount Rushmore?
There's 4, I believe.
4? Okay, so 4.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I'm really bad at all this stuff because there's so much that I like. So, I mean, okay, Jimmy Page to me is like, he's God. Bill Frisell, I love, is like my favorite guitar player, jazz guitar player. Very, very unique. Tommy Emmanuel, I think, is spectacular.
Mm-hmm.
Paco de Lucia, like I said, I'm bad at that. Like I love all these guys. I could name so many that I just like, oh no, this guy needs to be up there. I can't say that I listen to people that are like, and I'm like, they're my only thing. Like I have so much that I kind of listen to,
Yeah.
And my musical tastes are just, like crazy these days, like I don't even listen to music with words in it right now, like I can't. I don't like to listen to word music right now. So
really?
Yeah.
What are you listening to right now?
I'll tell you, my favorite shit is this guy Ivan Arset. And there's a whole bunch of these Norwegian like instrumental musicians, and they're like really cool shit. And Ivan Arset's sick, man. His guitar, he's a great guitar player, and the stuff is just really awesome music. And it's like Pink Floyd, but they mix in like electronica in it, and it's like, but with 2 drummers, and it's really great, But there's a whole bunch of these Norwegian musicians that are just they all like interact with each other. They're all on each other's albums and stuff like that, and they're like, they play this really interesting mix of electronic and regular instruments, and it's just spectacular stuff. I love it, I listen to a lot of that. Listen to a lot of Bill Frisell lately. I've been listening to Zeppelin a lot, though. I can't lie. I actually been listening to a lot of Zeppelin. It's so good.
It is timeless.
It's the best. I mean, It really is. Like I can't even say anything but like, I'm like, holy shit. I just blasted in my car, like on a ride. It was like, wow, this is so freaking good, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, Zap. I don't know. That's pretty much what I've been listening to. Once in a while, I'll get this crazy urge to go like back to my high school days and I get into like a Yes fix. I listen to Yes for like a day. I love it. So dork music.
Get your progressive on, right?
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, brother.
But
hey, man, is there anything you want to plug before we get out of here? You got an album coming out? Is there a show you're plugging or a live stream or anything you need to plug?
I don't like maybe if you're out there, go check out my my Facebook page, like that. But and I sell all my music. I do not do Spotify, or I don't do any of that stuff. TimHerronCorporation.com. If you want any of my music, it is up there for pay what you want. So you can take it for free. You can pay me $1 or whatever it is you want to do. It's there, and I want people to have it. I don't do the Spotify thing. I'm totally against that stuff. So I own my own media, and I like that. So
yeah,
so
smart.
That's pretty much it. Yeah, and I don't like, I've been doing a bunch of streams. I'll probably do a bunch of more streams, like maybe once a week or once every other week. That's about all I can really wrap my head around. So.
Do you have a set day that you do it on?
I don't. I've been
No.
doing them on Saturdays, but I don't know. I put it up on my page when I'm going to do one on my Facebook page, and then I just kind of say that I'm going to do one. I give people like a week's notice, so look for that.
Cool, man. And what's your website? Plug that.
TimHerronCorporation.com.
Awesome, brother. Hey, man, this was great to catch up with you. And hopefully we
Yeah,
can get
thanks for
together
having me.
and be in each other's presence and reminisce a little bit and maybe have a beer or two or wine now that we're more onto wine. But it was really good to catch up with you and reminisce and talk
Yeah,
about
man.
the old times. And we got to do this again. And if you got like an album coming out or anything, please use my platform, man.
I will. Thanks, Z. And it's good that you're doing this stuff. I think it's really great. I think it's super cool. So,
well, since nobody has gigs right now, you still need to make everybody relevant and still out there. And we don't want people to forget that we have such a great music community in the 315, Utica, Syracuse. It's all one big family, man. And it needs to be out there. And we don't want anybody to forget because you obviously can't see any kind of live music right now. So we need to keep out
it's going
there.
to come back hard, too.
I think
it's going to come back
man.
raging.
We're
Yeah,
gonna
I think
have
it's going
a
to come
big
back
old bash,
raging.
brother. We need to have one big old bash like the old times, and be in bed by
Oh my
11
God.
o'clock. And
Well, for that, I'll make an exception.
there you go.
Stay up till midnight. So.
Thanks again, man. And also big shout
right,
out to my sponsors, EJA Moving Services, Attorney Dave Longaretti, Utica Coffee, and of course, my good friends over at the Saranac Brewery. And I am out of here. Like, follow, subscribe, follow all that crap that you do on social media. Do all things Disruption Network and keep in the loop with us here at the D. You guys have yourself a good day, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Later.